Amazing. All right. So, well, thank you everybody for joining today. It's a very, very special day because you know that the world is commemorating the Refugee Week, which usually starts with the 20th of June. And for today, I wanted to invite a person who became an entrepreneur while being a refugee. And I'm just going to give you a couple of words about this and an introduction why we do what we do. But essentially, it's really important for you to understand that Refugee Day, overall, is a day for many of us practitioners and people who have been in the field for many years. It's a day to collect data and it's a day to collect information because still we have a lot of people on the move. Still, although there are 21.7 million people with refugee status around the world, there are still 4 million people seeking for asylum. That means there are still 4 million people out there without a refugee protection. And this year, we hit the astonishing number of 100 million people displaced around the world. What does that mean? People usually move from the same region, they are displaced in the same country, and the numbers every year are keeping going up. And I think it's not, I think for all of us, for the crowd here, we're preaching to the converter. But the most important thing that we have to do is to keep sharing with everyone what we migrants, and especially those with refugee protection, are doing. Because there's a difference. Refugees are also migrants. The difference between the rest of the migrants and refugees is because they didn't choose to be among us. Usually they had to leave to the nearest country or to the country that accepted them, or sometimes being resettled, which means depending on how dangerous the country you move into, you are going to be removed to another completely different region. So that's why when we talk about migrants and we talk about people with vulnerable backgrounds, we usually talk about people who are fleeing out persecution, violence, and conflict areas. So it's really important to mention this because despite all this, a lot of amazing entrepreneurs around the world arrive to a country as a refugee. And the merit of becoming an entrepreneur after going through all this, it's really high, and it's something that everybody here and all of us, the rest, should prize this effort. And on that end, I just wanted to continue. It's really important for you to know that Made by Migrants as a masterclass was set up essentially to basically show you and introduce a member of our community. Because what we are trying to do is to make sure that everyone around, all our allies or our partners and BCs, which are starting to knock at the doors at Migrantpreneur to get to know the members, one of the things that we want to make sure is that we are not looking for just like coins. One story short, we need the 1 million. No, I'm kidding. What we want to make sure is that people understand that there's not such a difference between the rest of the entrepreneurs. In fact, one important thing is to know that we don't necessarily call everybody migrantpreneurs. We call them entrepreneurs with migrant background because we should not be put into categories. The world should look different. And once the world will look different, we will stop this work. But in the meantime, the nonprofit of Migrantpreneur keeps offering this community support, and we all grow together until one day arrives that we migrants are seen for our innovations and our contributions more than anything else. So for today, there are many of them. In fact, my new 2 co-founders also have a Syrian background, and their families as well, or themselves, moved to Germany as part of the so-called refugee crisis in 2015. But I wanted to take the stage and to give the stage, as we do in Migrantpreneur, to a member of our community. And today I wanted to invite, for a long time, it's been due, but I saved this day for one person that I particularly admired. And I admired because Tarek, amidst everything that he has gone through, he always keeps this positiveness among us. And this is what makes many of us going through this entrepreneurial and hard road feel that we can't give up. Because if Tarek doesn't give up, we can't give up. So today, Tarek, it's all the floor. And I just want to give you the time to share with us your story. How did you start this entrepreneurial journey? How it's been, and how can we keep on doing whatever we're doing? And later on, we come with the questions and we're basically joining the rest of the community. So everybody, with all of you, I want to introduce you to Tarek.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you. I really appreciate your words and everything you're saying. It means a lot to me. And thank you so much for having me here also. It's a real pleasure for me to share my story, because as you said, I feel sometimes I like to share when I see people are feeling down or having a problem. I just like to share my story just to lift them up somehow, because what I've been through is something very hard. And I'm sure so many people have been through this, and this is such a positive thing to share, I would say, even though it's somehow a sad story. It's part of it is a sad story, but it's a positive thing. But yeah, thank you everyone for who come here to watch and listen. And yes, so I'm just gonna go into my story. So my name is Tarek Abousamra. I come originally from Palestine. I am born and raised in Syria. So basically my story started, I used to live in Syria with my family. My life was so beautiful. My father was very successful businessman. He had like a medical machinery company. It was like one of the top in the Middle East. I was in university studying in business administration. Everything was fine. Life is beautiful. I used to work with my dad in his company as like a product manager, as like I was trying to gain experience in business while I'm studying. Then at some point, suddenly from nowhere, the war started. Suddenly, my dad wanted to go get his, he had like a storage, big storage, which had 80% of what he owns. For us in my country, I don't know, it's different a little bit from Europe. So what my dad owns means what I own. So we live together, all of us. Here is different a little bit. People's like family split from each other. But for us, my dad lost is my loss. So we are all together. So basically, my dad lost everything he had in one day in this storage, because this storage became a war zone. So they wanted to go there to get their stuff, to get the stuff and like medical machinery stuff, like some really crazy stuff, like a small machine like this, maybe 200,000 euros, small thing for like labs and stuff, like any kind of lab or like hospital. They want to have high quality stuff. They go to buy from my dad's company. Anyway, so suddenly everything is gone. My dad was very sad. We were like really destroyed. Everything is like when it started to go down, our life started to go wrong. And suddenly, like here at this point, we decided we want to like move on with our life. So when I do something else, so we started to travel. We went to Lebanon for a while. We went then to Egypt. So we went to Egypt because my dad had another like small business there. We went there, and then at some point I wanted to finish my university because I couldn't finish. It was very pity that I had one semester left. So I went to London. I had some money. I went to London in order to finish my university. I stayed there for a while, and then I wanted to go back. So because I finished and I have to go back, I couldn't stay there like for long for some personal reasons. I went back to Syria, and then as soon as I came back to Syria, honestly, the situation got a lot worse. Things got really dangerous. The war started to get a lot more and more and more. It's livable. You can live, but I had no one there. My family, all of them left. I lost everything. I didn't have a home. I didn't have anything. So I really wanted to leave. I tried to apply for visas all around the world. I tried all around the world, literally, even Lebanon or like all the countries around us, Turkey. No one accepted me just because my passport is Palestinian Syrian. I'm proud of it, but this kind of passport is the worst passport in the world. So my only choice was to leave as a refugee. So I did to leave, and also me leaving as a refugee is different from Syrians. It's even worse because Syrians, they can go to Turkey by which is the most dangerous thing. They can go to Turkey by airplane or something like legally. For me, I cannot. I have to go illegally. So I have to run through the borders, through ISIS and through really bad stuff. And yes, so it's also like a long story itself, how I left, how I went from Syria to Turkey, what I've been through all the way, the people I met, the situations we had was really some really deadly situations, really bad situations. Anyway, so at some point, there is one thing I would love to share, which is so this another how I arrived here is a very long thing, and I don't want, because we're trying to have people who are trying to do business, so I don't want to talk about it because it's going to take a lot long. So I'm going to just reach a point where
go for it. We're here for you.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very long story. It will take me like 40 minutes to say, but I'm gonna say the most highlights thing, which is the most highlight that I have, is that it's very crazy. When I arrived to my last stop was when I arrived to Vienna. So I wanted to come from Vienna to Germany. This was my last stop. I went, so along the way when I'm coming here, anywhere I get caught by the police or something, they basically force me to claim asylum. So if I claim asylum in this country, my future is destroyed. I know many Syrians, they know that, because the other countries, they don't give you anything. They don't give you shelter. They don't give you money. You just live in the street. So it's very bad, and you have to stay there. So I was really scared along the way to get caught somewhere. When I arrived to Vienna, I booked a ticket, to one-way ticket. It's not one way, it's like one-way ticket to Berlin, because I wanted to come to Berlin. And this ticket was actually split to two. One train goes to another city to in the borders with like from between Austria and Germany. And then this city, I take another train and I go to Berlin. I took the train. It was a few hours, and then I arrived to this city. I left the city. I wanted to go to the other train, and I arrived that train, and I was like, I saw two police officers standing on the door and checking passports. And I was, I was that moment, oh my God, like I only have Syrian passport. My Palestinian Syrian, it does nothing, no visa, nothing. It's just like passport. Then I was like, oh my God, like what should I do? There's no, my life is like, I have to stay here all of my life. And I had an idea that moment. I don't know, like just to wait until the last minute and then go try. Just go try with confidence, you know. So I waited, and I waited until last minute. I went to the train. I gave the police he was passport. I gave him my passport, and he took my passport. He opened it and he started looking. He was like, "Where's your visa? You don't have visa." I told him, "Yeah, I don't have visa, but actually, I had to. I never lie. I hate to lie. I'm not a person who lie, but I had to lie that moment for my future." And I told him, actually, I was by the police, and police told me that they sent me here and they bought me the ticket and they told me to come here. And if you don't let me in, you are responsible to pay. It's like 180 euros. So please let me in. He was like, no, that's not possible. If they do that, they will come with you. I told him, no, they did that and you are responsible. And then that moment, the train, it has to close. And then he was like, okay, okay, come in. He let me come into the train. The train closed, started going. And then after like 1 minute, the train stopped. And then literally two police officers came just to me. They were like, hey, you, please give me your passport. I gave him his passport. He was like, come with me. I told him, please, please don't let me go. I really want to go to Germany. My future is there. Really, like, don't do that to me. And like, if you let me here go, like, you will destroy my future. And this moment, I never forget it in my life. He looked at me, he told me, like, on my shoulder, he was like, don't worry, you are in Germany. Welcome to Germany. And so this moment was like, honestly, the best moment of my life when he told me you're in Germany. And since that moment, I really felt welcomed in Germany. I know that people think there is Germany, there is like bureaucracy and it's hard and everything, but I really love Germany. I think Germany is an amazing system and I love it so much. And I think they really welcomed me so much. I've been through many racist situations, but here it started. Anyway, so they took me to a train, and then by coincidence, I was to Berlin. I came to Berlin, I started my life. So here I'm gonna start how I started with my life in Côte d'Azur. So I arrived to Germany. I had money. I had really zero money. It's nothing. So that's also why I'm thankful to Germany, because they gave me shelter. They gave me some money. This some money was enough for me to survive, to be who I am now. And I started to live my life. I started to hustle. And here at this point, I wanted to actually earn money and to support my income, because all of us have skills. We can do stuff. We can carry stuff. I know to have some electricity stuff, fix cars. In my car, I used to fix it sometimes alone. So I was like, I wanted to offer services, and here, like, I tried to look for places to offer it quickly without me applying for a job and waiting for 6 months, and I don't speak the language. And here, when I got the idea from Côte d'Azur, where I wanted to create a platform that, because that time when I tried to look, it was everything was very creepy, very hard. It was impossible to find anything. So that was my only way was to look in eBay Kleinanzeigen, which was I tried to work with someone. Someone told me to come and then he didn't answer, and so I wasted my time. It was very creepy and I was scared later to do it. So and then I decided I want to do something like Côte d'Azur later in my life. I started my life in Berlin. I started to hustle. I started to do things. I had freelancing visa. I started to do a few things, not visa, freelancing allowance. I applied for it when I was as a refugee, and it worked with me. I made some money. And then I decided to start my first company, which was shipping logistics company with my brother who is living here. His name is Louis. We together have this entrepreneurial mind. We started this company from scratch, and it went very well. It's basically we help people to ship their stuff between Germany and Europe, Germany and Syria, sorry, and some countries in Europe and Middle East. And it went well because we solved a lot of problems, especially for Syrian people who are coming as refugees, who want to travel, send their documents, their stuff, their bags. And it worked well. And then at some point in my life, I couldn't work with my brother anymore for personal reasons. I had to leave the company. Of course, we're brothers, no problems between us. I love him so much, but between company stuff. And I left, and then I wanted to do my own thing. And here I met my co-founder, Emilia Bryant. She's such an amazing person. Without her, I couldn't do anything. I told her about Kotasker, and I told her about everything happening. And here she told me, you know what, like last week, I wanted to fix something in her house, and she really struggled so much to find this because she doesn't speak German. And she really loved that. I loved the idea so much. So she joined me and we started together. Basically, we started business plan. We started everything. I have some background in prototyping and product management. And so I started to do the prototype. I started to do everything from scratch. Also, we didn't have money here. Like we have some savings, but it was really low. So here I'm just gonna tell you how we started, and I'm happy to share my experience and things that you would ask me about. But basically, we wanted to get legal advice, and we wanted to start our terms and conditions, privacy policy, and everything. And then here at this point, I wanted to. We needed to find someone to help us, but we are unable to pay the full amount directly because it's expensive. And we needed to hire a lawyer. And to do that, I had an idea to do this financing thing. So I know in Europe you can do financing. So I looked for, instead of looking for like this just lawyer, I looked for a big law firm, because I thought looking for a big law firm is the right way to go to get financing. So I researched best lawyers in Germany on Google, and I got this company called SRD. They are like big law firm. Yeah, but the Migrants didn't exist yet, because if it was there, it would have been really amazing help for me. That's why I really love it and support it. Anyway, I'll tell you about it later. So I looked for advice. I looked for this company. I reached out to them. I sent them an email regarding what I want, what I need. They liked me. They wanted to talk to me. The owner wanted to talk to me. She talked to me on the phone. She asked me about Kotasker. Then she invited me to her office next day. I came with Emilia. And then when we came in, Emilia, we tried to talk about it. Instead of them doing this, they actually fell in love with us so much, and they told us, "We really like you. We love you. We love your idea. We wanna join you as a like pre-seed round of investment, if you don't mind." And then we told them, "Okay, that's great." I mean, no, never better. You didn't exist. We love you, Magravana. We want you there always. Anyway, so they joined us pre-seed round. We started Kotasker. We published in March 2020. And honestly, I don't want to talk about Kotasker, because Kotasker have already more than 16,000 work opportunities created for people. It's very helping a lot of people so much. Now we are raising a new round. We're already raised almost half of it. It's very successful. Really, people love it so much. And for me, success is not to have the company still make billions per year or something. No, just to see people really have positive feedback and solving a problem. This is where I know that it's working, it's successful, and we're gonna soon hopefully expand to all Germany, and we're on it. But the thing is, so that's where we are. So that's where I am, and that's how I started. So I'm happy to share with you all things, but you can ask me if you want, or just you want me to keep talking. I don't know. But that's my story.
I would like you to keep talking, but I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I will ask everyone to start raising their hands so I can see you on the chat and do it in an organized basis, because I know that a lot of you have a lot of things to say. But Tarek, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this. I know that I mean, please thumbs up if everybody agrees with me. Sharing your personal story to us, it means the world, and it means the world. It keeps moving us. Essentially, and again, I think I didn't share this, but one of the reasons why I wanted particularly to invite a Syrian is because Syrians are still the people with the highest numbers of refugees in the world, 6.8 million. followed by Ukrainians, and followed by Venezuelans, 4.6 million in Latin America. So amidst all that, Tarek, Syrians in Germany are moving really fast. It's been 6 years later, and Germany last year saw tripled the number of Syrians becoming German citizens. That means that are already working, building companies, and paying taxes. And I know you're ready to submit your papers as well. So Tarek, one question on that end. Which advice and which piece of advice can you give to many entrepreneurs who, although in a different circumstances, are starting their companies with almost nothing and zero money? And you didn't only have not only zero money, you didn't have a place where to live. So which piece of advice can you give to everybody? And also please pass the contact of their lawyers. Which piece of advice can you give to everyone who's starting from scratch?
Sure. So my first advice for everyone who's going to start a company, especially when they don't have money, is that really make sure that you really have passion for the thing that you're doing. Because especially when you don't have money, if you're starting something and you're going to work hard for it, I'm not telling you it's going to be impossible, but it's going to be hard, and you have to be ready for it to be hard. But don't worry, don't let this scare you or anything. But just be passionate about it, because at some point it will get, for me, I don't know, maybe other things might be easier. For me, it got really hard at some point. And if I don't have this passion, I would have stopped a long time ago. And that's why I think if someone started something, just try to follow, not passionate about it just because to start a business, I don't think they will continue. And I think it's part of where businesses fail. Another thing I would love to share is that along the way, there's so many people that try to put you down. So many people will try to tell you it's not going to work. It happened with me with actually one investor. I don't think no one should ever talk to anyone like this, no matter, even if they really think it's wrong. But he was not a good person. I don't agree what he said to me, because he made us feel a little bit down, but never make me stop. He was like, this will never work. Why are you doing this? People never use it. This kind of putting me down. But I think, in my opinion, that there are even if the idea is there, or even if the idea you think is not going to happen, as long as you really have your passion for it and the way to do it, it can be successful, and you can do it even better than competitors. Even when having competitors out there is also validation that this is working, that there is a market for it. So I really think don't let anything stops you. Another thing which I recommend is very, very important. Don't spend a lot of money in the beginning. So try to do always use, for example, you want to have app, you want to present your idea. Don't go to developers to make websites. Use, for example, Wix, that you can create your website yourself. You don't need to spend so much money because in the end of the day, you also have to be reasonable. You have to start your thing. You create it. You see if it's working in the market, but if it's not working, then you have to stop. And also, you don't want to spend too much money. Otherwise you cannot stop anymore, if you spend too much money on it. So just try to find the small things that do it without wasting so much money. Also try to hire outsource developers in the beginning. Try to find, if you're alone, trust me, it's so important to have a co-founder. Having a co-founder, not only for the experience, I think having a co-founder is very important as also emotional support. Someone who just, when you are starting a company, it's the most important thing is that when you have ideas in your mind, when you talk with someone else, just talking is actually something very important. Just talking about it, because when you're alone, there's no one to talk to, and all of your ideas will go just like this, So I think it's very important to have a co-founder with you. So try to find a co-founder before you start. And also when you start, you have to I think. To look for, there are so many things you can start in the beginning to get you grants, get you start in the beginning, accelerator programs. But I really suggest that you need to be very smart with it. This is something I learned, that when do you start? So you have to at some point to form the company, UG or GmbH, right? So when you form this company, there are many kind of programs. There are programs on an idea stage before you form the company. There are programs after you form the company for 6 months. There are programs for 2 years. So be careful. If you form the company too early while you still don't have nothing, and you wasted so much time, we still don't have nothing, you might lose these opportunities, which are some of the opportunities in Germany that are 100% will happen. If you have the requirements, they will do it for you. But just be careful that you have the right. So look for, before forming the company, look for all the places where you can have grants, this free stuff, accelerator programs, and then start the company with timing. So make sure that you start the right timing. So that's what one of my big advice for everyone. I can also suggest that start early with marketing. So when you create anything, especially something like a platform, don't wait until you are out in public to start. No, start before. Create a form, any kind of form manually. Create groups like accounts like social media. Make your own social media. Start acquiring people. Start talking to people around out there. Like it was very helpful to me. Honestly, I'm like, this is something I really advise you to be a socialized person. I know not all of us, not everyone can. I understand it's hard, but it's really good to talk all the word of mouth. It was very important to me. Every time I go, like maybe bar or maybe meet my friends in the play, maybe club sometimes. I just have to, I get crazy. I just talk to people about it and they love it and they join because they see the passion. And this is like also a way to get to start talking about it, start get registrations before you start. And of course, like very important thing that make sure be smart about your ideas. So there are, of course, like passion is important, everything is important, but also this thing should be working, they have to be smart about it. But that's why I said, like, just because you never know until you try. Just try, don't put so much money, be careful about it, test it in the market. And I think also before you start, beta testing is very important, which is also, there are so many people who start like small and they don't have money, they don't know about, they know about maybe, but they're not aware so much of. And I think beta testing in the market is very important because believe me, you might have something on your platform. I don't know what kind of business you're creating. Maybe in the registration, maybe somewhere which you really don't even know that is there, will make you a big disaster. So that's also another thing I can suggest. But yeah, that's what I have like in mind at the moment.
Well, I'm going to stop the recording for everyone to start talking, introducing, and so on. But our claps to Tarek, because every time you open your mouth, we're learning a lot, and you're saying a lot of the things that I'm saying, like yes, 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 yes. This is for everyone.
I have one thing I forgot. I'm so sorry. I have one thing I would love to share. I really think it's very important too that you have good German skills in Germany. If you want to start a company, or at least someone around you, either a co-founder or someone will be there with you ready to support you anytime, who speak really good German, like maybe native German will be better. So this is very, very, very important thing. I really think you should do it because at some point it will get really hard with the German, so you have to do it. Yes.
Absolutely. And if not, then we are there with our 911 crazy. If everybody has an issue, but for now, Tarek, before I close the recording, I'm just gonna echo what John, member of our community, just said. If there's something that we can take from you is keep true to your vision, put yourself out there, remember your why, and don't give up. Tarek, just for closing the recording, once again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you also for listening.